everyone, today I'm going to be showing you what I'm making for dinner. So I'm going through the pantry and trying to use up what we have before I buy a bunch of new stuff. So I decided to make a chicken stir fry tonight. I'm kind of following another recipe that I saw on another YouTube video, so I will link that down below so you can see how she did it, because she used 2 pounds of chicken and I only have like probably half a pound of chicken, if that. So I'm just gonna like wing it. I see the sauce that she made is like not that much, so maybe I'll just make the whole sauce, and then if I have extra I'll just keep it for a while or freeze it. I think they said you could freeze it. But anyway, so for a basic chicken stir fry, you're gonna need chicken and vegetables, and then kind of like whatever sauce combination you like. There's a bunch of different stir fry sauces. You can use a peanut sauce. You can buy a stir fry sauce, which I actually have, but I want to try to use up these ingredients. And yeah, so anyway, so what I'm using for my stir fry is some green onions that I found in the fridge, some garlic, because my garlic is starting to like grow and get dried out, so I want to use that, some brown sugar, some onions and 1 pepper, 1 red pepper, some corn. I'm probably going to use half of the can and then freeze the other half or eat it this week like with lunch. I'm going to use these soba stir fry noodles. Usually when I make this, I use 2 packs of these. There are 2 inside of here. They're in little bags. So it just depends on how much you want to make. But like my boyfriend really likes stir fry, so sometimes he wants like another bag. But these are very expensive. I wish I could figure out how to cook them like without buying the pre-cooked ones. Maybe one day. I have this to use as chicken broth because I would normally use the better than bouillon stuff, but this was in the pantry and it's going bad, so I want to use it before it goes bad. Then we have sesame oil. A little bit of this goes a long way, so if you are going to use that and you're not going to follow a recipe, less is more. Mirin, I love this stuff. I love using this in a lot of dishes like this. I like the flavor. It's like sweet. Soy sauce. Here's my salt shaker. She said you need regular salt and garlic salt. The only thing is this is not an unsalted soy sauce or like less sodium, so I'm going to be careful with that, especially if I'm not making the full amount. Then yeah, the garlic salt, and then I'm going to use the fine ground black pepper this time instead of the coarse one. And then the chicken is in the microwave de-thawing. And then also, I just want to show you guys this drink that I've been drinking. This is, I got it from ShopRite. They have a bunch of these. They were on sale this week. And they're actually really good. And they don't have a lot of sugar at all. And, like, you kind of can't tell that. Like, usually, like, healthy drinks are, like, super, like, strong. Or they don't have a good flavor. But these have been really good, actually. So, trying to do that. So anyway, so let's get started. Okay, so first I'm gonna mix up the sauce. So it calls for 1/4 cup of chicken broth. I have that in here. I put the brown sugar and the pepper in here, and that was 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. You're supposed to use white, and 2.5 teaspoons of brown sugar. So we got that. So I'm going to pour this in here. Then we need the soy sauce, so 1/4 cup of that. And she did use the low sodium one, but I don't have that one. So what I'm going to do is leave out the sauce. I mean the salt for the chicken part. So I'm going to add that here. Yeah, I'll just leave out the salt, and then maybe just use a little garlic salt and more just garlic powder for the chicken instead. Okay, then 1 tablespoon of the mirin. So I have my thing here. Let's see if I can pour this. Let me pour it and then come back. Okay, I added the tablespoon of mirin just because it was like a mess, so I didn't want it to spill out. So now we need a teaspoon of the sesame oil. So I'm gonna try to get this out. This is the hard part because it's in like a dropper bottle. So you kind of have to go like this. I know this is like a messy video, but okay. So she used something called a spicy sesame oil. I don't know what that is. So I'm just using regular sesame oil. So we got that, a teaspoon of that. And then we have to get the cornstarch. So let me get that with some water and I'll come back. Okay, so the recipe calls for a tablespoon of cornstarch and a tablespoon of water. And what I learned was you need to use cold water to melt it, otherwise it won't really work. So I put cold water in here, and I'm just using the measuring cup that had the soy sauce, so that's why it looks a little bit brown. But you just basically mix it up until it's dissolved. So there's that. And then I'm gonna pour it in here. Now, one thing is I'm not going to add all of this to my meal right away because it is, like I said, used for 2 pounds of chicken. I'm going to add some and see how it looks. But then I realized that she didn't use noodles, so maybe it'll be okay because it'll just give flavor to the noodles. Hopefully it sticks to the noodles. Alright, so now our sauce is done. So now I need to take the chicken out of the microwave and cut it up into little pieces and get it ready for the pan. Okay, so here I have my chicken cut up into tiny pieces. I know it will shrink a little bit more as it cooks, but I prefer tiny pieces of chicken. I think these were 2 boneless chicken breasts. I'm going to add a little bit of oil just like she did. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the garlic salt on top. Not a lot. Just a little because I really do like this. And then I'm going to put the rest with this organic garlic powder I have. Put a lot on there. And then I'm going to mix it around. I have some tongs here so I don't have to touch it. I hate cutting up chicken. I know it's a lot cheaper to cut it up yourself, but it's not my favorite thing to do. Maybe if I could like prep it all one day and have like, you know, it all ready to go and then I could just freeze what I didn't use. I don't know, but to do this all the time, like, no. It's just for me, I don't know. I can do like beef and stuff, but chicken is always like a little bit, makes me a little nervous. But I do wipe everything down with like bleach, and I have a spray that's bleach spray, and then I clean the sink out and all the utensils and such. So yeah, but you just never know. So I'm going to let this sit for a minute and let the oil heat up. I have some oil in a pan here heating up, and I actually put the chicken fat in the pan. I just want to see if it will like render. I don't know, because I know people do that with bacon fat. I just want to see if it will. If not, I'm going to take it out and throw it out. But I don't like the fat on the chicken, so I cut it off. And I was about to throw it out. And I was like, let me see if this will kind of like render down in the oil. So that's, I can also tell when it's hot too by that. And it's just starting to get hot. So I got a really big pot here. I don't have a wok. Maybe one day I will, but right now I don't really want to have one because I don't have a lot of space. So I'm just using this stainless steel pot, I guess. Anyway, so I'm gonna let this cook for a little bit and get hot, and then we're gonna add our chicken. Okay, so our pot is sizzling. I moved the fat over to the side just to see what it would do, and I'm going to put the chicken in. She said don't overcrowd the pan, but this pan is really big, so I don't think I'm gonna have a problem with that. But I'm just gonna get these in. And she said about 3 minutes. I don't know, we'll see. I just want to see how long it takes to make sure they're fully cooked. So let me get all these in here and then I'll come back. Okay, so it is on medium heat and it is splattering pretty much. So it's hot. I don't really like cooking chicken like this. I've never made stir fry where you've had to do this before. So I think the point is to get like a little crispiness, but I don't know. So I'm just gonna let this go for a few minutes and we'll see, because it always sticks to the bottom of the pan. So once it like browns a little bit, it'll come off. So, but it's making a mess right now, so I might have to turn down the heat just a little bit because these pans do get really hot. So once you add the vegetables, it should be fine, but because there's so much like extra oil, I think that's why it does that. But anyway, I'm gonna let this cook for a little bit and then flip them over, and then like I want to get them brown a little. But since this is a chicken breast, I'm not sure if it's gonna actually turn like white. It's probably gonna look kind of brown. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna let them get brown a little bit and then I'll come back. So I turned it down to like a 2 because it was splattering everywhere, and this is what it's looking like so far. It is turning brown. I switched out my utensil so I'm not touching like super raw chicken with that. Does anybody else do that? I feel like I switch it out too much, but I'm just really like paranoid about like raw chicken. Here's the fat, what it looks like. It is kind of like shrinking. It's interesting. So it doesn't look pretty, but as long as it tastes pretty at the end, that's all that matters. So I'm just gonna let this keep cooking a little bit and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so the chicken has been cooking for at least like 6-7 minutes. The fat basically did get smaller, so I cut it up really tiny and mixed it in. I'm just letting it get like a final brown. Hers wasn't super brown, but I just want to make sure that it's cooked, and I chopped them up a little smaller. So I'm gonna give this a few more minutes and then I'm gonna add the vegetables. So I'll come back and show you that. And I raise the temperature back up to 4, which I'll raise it a little bit more because once we add the vegetables, they need to stir fry too, and they stay crispier if you cook them on a high heat quickly. At least that's what I think from watching all the stir fry videos. But it does smell good. The chicken smells good. I got the sauce ready. I got the vegetables ready. I got the green onion to put in at the end and the garlic ready. So we'll be back and we'll put in the vegetables. Okay, so she took her chicken out, so I'm doing that right now, and then I'm just gonna put the little meat thermometer in and see if it gets up to 165, and it's at 178, so you know that it is cooked. So I have this little thermometer I got from Amazon. It works for Fahrenheit and Celsius. I've had it for a long time and I really like it, and it's really easy to use. You just turn it off and on, and there you go. So I'm not going to add any more oil to the pan because I don't need to. I'm going to add our vegetables, and they should cook for about 3 minutes, she said. So putting the vegetables in, and then I'm going to add some of the corn. spin it around. That's the water coming off the corn. So we're going to cook this for about 3 minutes, like she said, and then we'll come back. Okay, and at this point, she also said to add the minced garlic, so I'm going to do that too. And now we have to cook it for 3 minutes. She also had ginger that she added, but I didn't have ginger, so I'm just adding the garlic. So I'm just going to let this cook for 3 minutes, and then we'll come back. It smells good so far. And it looks good too. Okay, so it's been about 3 minutes, and now I mixed up the sauce again, and I'm going to pour it in. And she said that it will thicken pretty quickly. And I did add all of it because I'm going to add the 2 packages of noodles. So, yeah, so I'm going to stir this up a little bit. Okay, so here it is, and now I'm going to stir it up, and yeah, it is thickening already. You can see it. So once it thickens, you can add the chicken back in, and then it's basically it. So I'm going to let it thicken for a minute, and then I'm going to open the noodles. So I opened one. This is what they look like. I've never had the soba noodles before. We usually get the thicker ones, but I want to see how these are. So I'm actually going to add them now because they need to warm up a little bit in order to come apart. So let me add both packages and then I'll be back. Okay, I added both packages, and as they sit in the liquid, they start to come apart. So that's what we want. And this is thick now. So I'm just going to try to separate the noodles so we can mix it in. Sometimes if you add like the hot liquid on top, it kind of helps. But yeah, I've never had the soba noodles before. So hopefully they taste just as good as the regular ones. And if it's not working and you have to add a little bit of water, you can. It says you can put them in the microwave too if you want. But yeah, you can microwave them for 90 seconds. But I don't really want to do that, so I might add just a little bit of water. Let me get that. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit of water just to help it. And then I'm going to add the chicken back in. And I'm going to add the green onions more towards the end. But it just basically has to all come together now. Yeah, as this steams and gets warm, it will separate. I'm interested to see how these noodles taste. I've seen these at Walmart and other stores like ShopRite and stuff, but they're like so expensive. So I don't know how to cook them like regularly. Like if they just come like regular spaghetti, I'm not really sure. I know this video is kind of all over. I really wish that we had some broccoli or something green. I have spinach, but that wouldn't go with this. Okay, so now this is basically come apart. So now I'm going to try to mix this all together with the vegetables and everything. I could probably get like a spatula and turn it over, but I'm going to add the green onions now. And also the one thing that she didn't put in was sesame seeds, and I was surprised because that's like a go-to topper for stir fry, I feel. So I do have sesame seeds, so we're gonna add that. It smells good. You can definitely smell the mirin. Like I said, if you are not familiar with that, it's like a sweet type thing. It's sweet, so it doesn't really like make the flavor sweet. To me, I just like it. But some stir-fry sauces don't have it, and some do. I hope the vegetable to noodle ratio is okay. Some people like more, some people like less. But that's basically it. So let me mix it up a little bit more and then put some in a plate and I'll show you. Okay, so I ended up stirring it, like tossing it with these utensils like a salad, and it worked a lot better and it incorporated everything. So here is the finished product. I added some of these Sushi Chef sesame seeds and it looks really good. So I guess we should try with the sauce. Okay, so I just tried the noodles and they did suck up the flavor of the sauce, which is good. So there you have it, guys. That's dinner for tonight. It was pretty simple and easy to do, and yeah, so let me know if you guys try this out, if you like it, and what varieties you use. And thanks for watching, and I'll link the real video in the down bar so you can watch it and follow her directions if you want. It's probably easier to follow than mine. But thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.